Hello everybody and welcome back to ESA Summer 2022. I'm Aishma and I'm going to be running Samurai Jack Battle Through Time for you. Now I think all of you, or at least a couple, should know this series. This game is based on, was really popular, or is still really popular, especially after it finally got its official send-off in its 5th season finale. So, if you don't know anything about this, don't worry about it. We will talk you through all of that. With me, I have two wonderful people who are also pretty big Samurai Jack fans, so I'm really pleased to have you along my side. If you would want to go ahead and introduce yourselves.
My name is The Blacktastic, and I love Samurai Jack.
And I'm Argig. It is a show I grew up with when I was a kid, so pleasure to be here.
All right, and with that, I think it is time that we start getting into this. A few quick words about what we're going to do here. This is the new game, 80% new game Jack category, meaning we will start from a fresh save file. So no previous skills unlocked or anything like that on Jack difficulty, which is the lowest difficulty of the game. So compared to all the other difficulties, we will deal about 80% more damage, just roundabout. So it's actually pretty easy to get through the fights. But there are some neat little tricks that we're going to do throughout the run because, well, we're going to do some out-of-bounds and stuff. But we'll get to there when we get there. Anyway, I will just go ahead and press the button here. Time doesn't start just yet. We'll wait for that because I will go ahead and skip the cutscene. And then as soon as I press the button here, time will start. So let's get cracking in 3, 2, 1, go!
Let's go!
So the first thing you're going to notice is whenever I get control of Jack and start moving, Jack does a few pretty slow steps first and then slowly ramps up into a full-on sprint. There is no way to speed this up. This is basically just a game mechanic that is happening. So whenever you're getting somewhere or trying to move somewhere, you do want to make sure that you actually can sprint for a little while to get the maximum, or rather to make the trip as short as you can.
Yeah, think of it as in like Dante from Devil May Cry, where a lot of the basis of this game is just going to be like puzzle platforming and execution, but being forced into these arenas along the way.
Yes, exactly. So I'm not just fighting these guys out of fun, I actually do have to kill all of them to be able to move forward. And of course, this is a speedrun, so I'm trying to do this as efficiently as possible. Another thing to keep in mind is, even though we are fighting the same enemies here over and over, they do have different HP values that you do not know anything about until you actually get to fight them. So you just have to make sure that you basically know which attacks you're trying to use. Another thing is, you see the enemies blocking here, and every time an enemy blocks one of my attacks, I am losing time. There's absolutely nothing I can do about that, so let's just hope I get good block RNG, so to speak. Heading in here, we are forced into our first upgrade screen, and we will get the Ki attack. Now, the Ki attack, you can think about one of the special attacks that you can do to clear out whole rooms of enemies. You can see it charge up in the lower left corner. There's currently a white flame, and as soon as that thing turns red, just like that, I have my Ki attack ready. So let's wait for all the enemies to spawn and then use it, and that should clear out basically everything around here except the respawning enemies. So the thing is, in all of these battle arenas, there is a maximum amount of enemies that can be on screen or in the arena at one time. I am missing one. There we go. And basically, when you kill an enemy, another enemy is basically 3 to spawn in, but you have to kill a set amount of enemies to, be able to continue on.
Dialing back to the first skill that he unlocked, there's actually a lot of resources in this game used to unlock a lot of skills, and he's going to be prioritizing the ones that, just get him around the fastest and also getting him to kill the enemies the fastest. So that the skill fire, the Ki fire, and most importantly, the Bushido.
Speaking of, let's go ahead and unlock the most important skill in the game, which is the Rushing Guard. I would like to get this as the first skill instead of the Ki attack personally, because this is basically the attack that we will use throughout, well, most of the game actually. And you see me use it right here. And the nice thing about this is it not only moves you forward quite fast, it also blocks while I am sliding along the ground. And this little jumping attack that Jack does at the end has multiple hit frames, so you can hit multiple enemies with it, and also has tracking towards the nearest enemies. So it's really just a nice tool to get to clear out rooms really fast, because once again, we are playing on the easiest difficulty setting, so enemies die pretty quickly too.
You've got your ranged weapons coming in as well now.
Yes.
One of the other important aspects of this game is going to be inventory management. There's going to be a number of different ranged weapons we're going to be using. You're going to see 3 throughout the run. And they're going to be used for a mixture of things, clearing out enemies quickly and some really good quick kills on some bosses, but more about that when we get to them.
Very, very nice clear wave right there. And speaking of killing the enemies quickly, you can see a lot of these enemies kind of spawn in at the same time. There are some ways where you can just get a very small amount of enemies, but they have an incredibly high defense threshold or high HP. So it's actually a little bit more beneficial to get the higher spawning enemies so you can just use your rushing guard, flip kick them, and usually a one-hit blow every time.
Coming up at the very first boss fight of the game, so actually near the end of the first stage right here. It's the Scotsman. He is evil for some story reasons, unlike the little dude beneath me here.
It's my descendant, mate.
He's gonna count out some hits here, and that should be enough to kill him. All right, there we go. So that was the first level done. One thing to keep in mind, this game goes by IGT instead of RTA timing. So this is a stage time of 3 minutes 26, if you guys want to go ahead and note that down, because I actually forgot to prepare anything to note down the IGT, so we actually know what our final time is going to be. 3:26, it's okay-ish time. It's definitely at the higher end, but you know, with explaining stuff and being on the marathon, it's still pretty good. So far, this is now the second level of the game. Obviously, it is Boone's castle. And you might remember this basically from the show where the Scotsman and Jack teamed up to save the Scotsman's wife, who was happy about it, apparently. Maybe not so much. I mean, she was screaming a lot at them, if I remember correctly.
Scotsman's default state, screaming. Loads of screaming.
Shout outs to John DiMaggio for like absolutely capturing that
Yes.
every time.
Yeah.
Legendary voice actor. So some of the other drops that we're going to get here as well, alongside all the different stat upgrades that we can get, you're also getting ammunition, which is really important for keeping your ranged weapons topped up. But later on, we might also use it for some money. As we've not yet run into the shopkeeper, but trust me, you can't miss them.
Yeah. Like Bobby explained earlier, there are a lot of resources that you collect in this game, and they are all important in their own right for the run. However, there is basically no way to guarantee that you get the resources that you need. I mean, we tried to route it out in a way, or rather the RNG is most of the time generous enough to give you the right stuff that you need at certain points. But you can still get screwed over at some points where you just don't have the tools that you need to go fast. You're still able to make the run happen. But obviously, if you are shooting for a world record time, well, RNG, go ahead and blast that stuff because you will need it.
Speaking of RNG, you're getting quite good RNG right now with those enemies stacking up there. The Russian guard there, hitting multiple enemies coming through. You want to see that when you get those big clusters of enemies, that's what you're looking for. Because then the tracking can just take out 3 or 4 at a time.
Something interesting about that, like a lot of the Force Arena encounters will have these enemies spawning in their static locations, but because of that RNG, like you have to be really quick about reading them in their location, or else they might skitter across, they might guard, which causes you to lose a bunch of time.
Yeah, it really might not look like it, but there is a lot of RNG going on all the time, which, in the grand scheme of things, might not be as bad as in some other games that we were playing, but it can definitely add up over the course of the whole run. Now we're getting some more upgrades here, mostly increasing our luck chance, so we might get actually better drops or more drops out of the enemies, and that just makes it a little bit safer or not as RNG heavy as it might if you would not get those skills. So it's really important to grab those as soon as you can during a run, so you have basically the whole run to leech off of these passive increases.
I do like the upgrade. It's like, good luck. What's the upgrade? Better luck. we get a really good upgrade name later on. Like, you look forward to that one.
Yeah, if you're a fan of the show, a lot of these skill power-ups that you'll be seeing will call back to a lot of the favorite episodes of Samurai Jack.
Yeah, definitely a lot of references worked into this game for sure. Something that you've seen me do here is that at the end of a battle, the upgrade materials get sucked into Jack automatically, so I do not have to walk around and actually collect them. However, this does not apply to gold and the ammunition drops, like shurikens and ammunition for the guns and stuff like that, so you still have to walk around the battlefield manually afterwards to go ahead and collect these.
Little platforming segments. You'll see them shift into the 2D plane. And actually, if you were a little bit keen on that eye, you just missed the shopkeeper.
We will get back to him later, no worries, as he will appear in every stage, sometimes even multiple times. But yeah, so far we're just running around this little place here. And we're gonna go to another fighting section in just a moment. So, Zephyr, if you have anything to block, now might be your chance.
All right, into the fight here. Seeing the RNG, nice
Really good.
3 cycle, gets the 2. Enemies not quite spawning where you want them to right now. These ones are all splitting up. Still manages to get the 2 though, gets a 3rd. And the glorious zoom in on Samurai Jack's face, just like da-da.
I think it's just a lot more beneficial to have more of the enemy spawn in, not only so you can kill them quicker, but increase chances of those resource drops. We've seen a little bit of some expert platforming here.
Oh,
But
come on,
no,
push it
a little
out.
bit in. Oh! Yeah, these guys can be complete jerks, especially a little bit later in the game. But
Excuse me, sir.
we just
There
want to
we
jump
go.
in. Okay. We got 3 more branches to hop on.
That was branch 1. Oh.
Yeah, it's usually the enemies. Oh,
Oh.
you know, I'm just gonna shut up.
Bobby, you're doing it again!
All right, one more. All right, and then now we're good.
It's all right. Ishmael's the branch manager. There. Got us sorted. It's fine. Got us sorted. Don't clap for that. That's terrible.
So as you saw, just there, like the knockback when you get hit is just like phenomenal. It knocks you all over the place. So that can definitely totally screw with you in any of these platforming sections coming up, especially when you're just trying to go ahead and land on these branches. It had some really awkward hit zones to try and get those jumps in, because that was obviously not the intended way to scale this mountain. But it saves us a little bit of time because you don't have to go to the sides and just make our way around the circuit, so to speak.
There's even going to be another segment, a couple stages in the future where you're going to have to do some expert platforming to go out of bounds, but the enemies are really keen on what you're trying to do.
Yes, they are. They definitely have their anti-stormtrooper aim coming in. So.
Yeah, they passed training. It was great. You never thought you could pass it. But here's our shopkeeper here. Here's the Samurai. And we're going to grab our first power up here. It is the bracelet. We've got to tell you to remember to equip it.
Yes,
Especially
thank
the
you.
second
Thank
and the
you.
third one.
I am notorious on forgetting to actually buying them, but then forgetting to actually put them on, because why would you go ahead and do that? This is not an RPG.
And more forced fighting here. I believe you were mentioning during practice that this is made by the same folks that work on the Ninja Gaiden series
Yes.
as well. So even though right now this looks really easy, we are on Jack difficulty. If you want a challenge, stick that difficulty up there and you're going to have a lot of fun.
So we're coming up to the second boss of the game at the end of the second stage, and you might notice that these bugs in particular have a capsule-shaped hitbox. So what I'm trying to do here, as you see the rushing guard, I'm just trying to wedge Jack in between the ground and the hitbox of the enemy. So the animation for this little jump at the end actually does not come out, and it allows me to deal more damage in a shorter time. However, this is what I want. You want him to collapse, and then you can just go ahead and This is actually rhythm-based in a way, because if I go the full distance with the rushing guard, I have to be aware that my attack will come out a little bit later, so I have to start the rushing guard later. And that was a pretty good fight, actually. And we have a time of 6:29 for our second stage here. And coming into the third stage, Zephyr, is there anything you want to tell us?
Nat Mace donated $15. This donation is in honor for the Blacktastic. Good commentary.
Thank you. So what we're coming up to here is the cave of the ancient. No, I'm kidding. So, thank you very much for the donations. Keep them going.
So basically, that donation just activated the bot-tastic right next to me. We'll see how it is.
One thing that I want to kind of explain for why we have like that weapon is that when you can finish off enemies with this special throw using your unarmed skill, you can actually take either a limb or some of their weapons, and you can actually use them, but they have a little bit of a set durability. So he's going to have to really ration out these hits, and also with a lot of the other weapons, repair them, because you're actually able to repair them to increase their durability and just do all that big damage there.
Yeah, if you're wondering why we have this weapon exactly, we actually got him from these 2 huge robots before you fight the final, or the boss of the second stage. That happened in a cutscene though, but it still counted the game mechanics for us. So otherwise, exactly, we would have to go ahead and grab these from the other enemies. So this is basically the rushing guard attack of the hammer / sickle weapons right here. The hammers being the slowest but also strongest or most damaging weapons in the game, which is why we like to use them here. Because as Bobby does think, there are a lot of weapons or weapon types in the game. Except, or rather, exceptional to those are the magic sword, you know, Jack's standard weapon, and the samurai fist. Those do not have any durability whatsoever, and the only way to actually increase the damage of those 2 weapon types is to get more upgrade skills. However, since we are pretty much hard pressed on our upgrade resources, we will never upgrade them during this category.
And there are a lot of more powerful weapons, and that we're going to be taking care of, especially with our use of the samurai. Not only can you have those, power bracelets and all that stuff, but you can definitely repair your weapons through them and keep them as strong as possible. Like, when the main weapon that you're actually going to be seeing us use actually comes from the boss of this stage.
Which is actually always a little bit stressful because you only have this one chance to get this exact weapon, and I'm not saying that the run is completely impossible without it, but you are definitely missing out on damage like all throughout the game, which will drastically slow it down.
It's a chunky weapon.
You
want the chunky weapon.
Yes.
You'll find out exactly why it's chunky when we grab it.
If you can go for a chunk, go for a chunk.
Exactly.
Now there's this trap hallway here with these moving blocks. It's kind of random when they come out and when not. So I'm just trying to make my way over here. Now the last one is always a little bit tricky because it is larger than the other 2, or wider rather. So you definitely want to keep your momentum from running around in a circle just a little bit to make absolutely sure that you can pass it. Because if they push you over to the lava at the side, it actually takes time to, get back to the beginning of that section and do it all over again.
Alright, we got our lovely little stone enemies here. They're quite chunky as well, health-wise. They're going to take a lot of damage. But one of the things we don't want to see from them, we don't want them to grab you. They've got a really annoying animation there where they will grab you, they will stab you a few times, and it just loses time. And it's a lot of time being lost there. But thankfully, first set we're good. And here's our friend.
Our first Demongo fight.
Good RNG.
Yeah, when he spawns in, you can do a little slide kick from your little sliding guard, Russian guard.
Oh, I might have mistimed this. Yes. Okay, that was unfortunate because he was actually in his little teleportation animation, which meant that I totally missed him right now with my Ki attack. Because how you fight Demongo is you take care of these little enemies. They will leave behind a soul orb that you can then grab and reflect against Demongo to deal boatloads of damage. However, since he was in his teleporting animation, he's invulnerable during that time, so all the damage that I was trying to deal was wasted.
However, we do have, we're going to be seeing him a lot later in the run, and we do have ways of dealing with him rather instantly.
Yes. Another thing that could have happened there, you saw me fight these 3 stone soldiers before this. They have a very small chance to go ahead and drop some piercing arrows for you. And those are very damaging ranged attacks, if you have a bow, obviously. And if those stone warriors had dropped some, I could have taken care of Demongo without having to use the soul orbs. However, obviously we didn't get any. We got some normal arrows, which is still nice, but not as great, so we would have to go for the soul orb strategy.
Very tedious, these enemies, with their really wide-range swipes of their attacks, really long grab animations, but since we had a really nice number, they were weak enough to be felled within a single blow.
I mean, it is at least nice enough from the developers to do that to us, so, that the more enemies you fight, the weaker they actually are HP-wise. So, just to make, let's go through those fights a little bit faster. And all throughout the stage, you can hear this ancient king calling out to you. You might remember the episode from the show where Jack was making his way through this mountain, following this same exact voice. So, spoilers if you know the show, you might already know what's going to happen in just a little while. Another nice touch is that all of these traps and rooms that we're going through are actually based off that particular episode. So, you know, if you have a good memory, you might basically remember more or less every single room we're going through here at the moment.
Speaking of that, like show, this actually isn't like a pure retelling of all the episodes that Jack went through. This is actually like pretty canon. Like, you know, before that final fight, Aku again flings him into the, you know. Well, rather into the past. Go back to the past, Samurai Jack.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's a battle through time, just as it says.
Basically a second time all the way over. I mean, Jack must have gotten really tired of that, doesn't he? Okay,
that's also why he's going through this rather quickly, because he just kind of like already knows. There we go.
There we go. We're falling down a long shaft here. We're buffering in the double jump just like that, so we actually do not take fall damage, because yes, this game also has fall damage. We are safe though on the lower difficulty settings, because if you're playing on Jack or Samurai difficulty, Jack actually passively has a second wind kind of ability, so if you lose your health the first time around, he actually has this little, you know, animation where he gathers his strength once again, and you get a little bit of a health refill, so you can actually go ahead and keep on playing until you've hit one of these checkpoints, which also reset that particular ability.
He's just dashing a little bit into the cutscene trigger, so because like the raft moving to that cutscene trigger takes a lot more time. And it is Jack difficulty. So that guy's going to be going down. But again, there's only one chance to get that sort of weapon that boss wields. So it's going to be really, really careful.
Yeah, we've got a couple more heads coming on here. The boss, when it starts having flames around it, is indicating it's going into its second phase and then its third phase. You can see those blue hexagons, meaning it is guarding. But we're going to see Ajima here do a couple of bit more damage. Going to switch to the Samurai Fist, knock the boss down, do the grapple, and then get the strongest weapon that we'll use for the rest of the game, basically.
There we go.
The Ancient King's Mace.
And that's the end of Chapter 3.
So we have a time of
6:45.
All right. Yeah, you want to make absolutely sure that you do get the Ancient King's Mace, because otherwise things might not go so well, actually.
Especially in this stage where the enemies just become incredibly arduous. And just using all this skill fire, ki fire, just anything that he needs to upgrade the damage on these combos.
Another thing is, because we are going by IGT and not by RTA timing, I can basically spend as much time as I like in these menus, because the IGT is actually paused during those. So if you have to go ahead and check your notes as I just did, it is totally fine to do this in this one. I mean, obviously we are in the marathon setting here, so we want to go as fast as we can, in real time, so to speak. But if you're new to speedrunning, this might actually be a good thing to pick up on, because you don't have to go fast optimal all the time. You can take all the time you need to go ahead and check your notes just to make sure that you can get the run done.
Yeah, this game released on many contemporary platforms, so platform of choice, controller of choice, and the standardized IGT usage for the speed run really makes it a pretty accessible game to get into.
So yeah, level 4, the Undead Cemetery.
Your favorite.
Yes. Yes, my absolute favorite from the bottom of the list. Because of these zombie enemies, you might already see them do that, but they are prone to just burying into the ground. And as you can imagine, as long as they are on the ground, there is no way for you to go ahead and hit them. They are basically invulnerable all the time through, just like that. There is nothing you can do about this. They can do that as long as they want. They can even stay underground as long as they want. And if they just keep on doing that, not only are you going to have a miserable time, but also a bad time for your levels. So, yeah, no.
Yep. See, no. Well, what else you're going to try to Ajima do here is weaving in some of the ranged attacks just in between the swipes here. It's just to try and get as much damage on these zombies as we can so they don't burrow down. But once again, it's RNG on top of RNG at this point.
Yeah, a lot of the ranged weaponry can stagger the foes out of their movement or their attack, so it's even an essential tactic to keeping them where you want to be. Hi, John. Like, you're just going past like all these other characters, like, oh, what's that dog doing? Oh, what's haggis?
Yeah, haggis. Hey, you can buy haggis in the shop. I love it. I love this game. It's like, what are you buying? Haggis.
Do you have strong opinions on that food?
I love haggis. Haggis is great. Anybody comes to Scotland, I'll give you. Yeah! Anybody comes to Scotland, I'll give you a haggis.
Christ.
Well, I mean, there's UKSG coming up, isn't it?
There is indeed. But before that, more zombies.
Yeah. So one thing that you can try and do with these zombies is you saw me not only use the rushing guard against them, but some actual normal sword strikes to get them up into the air. Because obviously, as long as I'm air juggling them, they cannot bury you underground. So, you know. Try to change things up a bit. Sadly, those normal sword strikes don't deal as much damage as the rushing guard. So basically, pick your poison.
Big key eye strike to take out the first wave of the enemies, but unfortunately,
Yeah, got a couple burrows there.
Straight under. It's like, nope, I'm not having that.
Saw that, like, oh, no!
You said tell me you wouldn't. It's like, what was that? No, I'm done.
I mean, to be fair, if I would see all my mates getting beat up by this one dude, I might, you know,
Duck
go
underground as well. It's like, yeah, fine.
Don't see me, don't hit me, don't do it. No.
A lot of head in the sand type people here.
It's basically zombie ostriches.
Yeah, I will fight. No.
Out of here.
I do love having the 2D segments. Like, it just goes into the cinematic mode
It's
as well.
so funny.
But you
It's so
are
fun.
actually still controlling this.
Yes. This is not Unreal. I mean, the game does a phenomenal job of just capturing like the style of the show. Like, you're basically feeling like you're playing an actual episode of the show. I mean, obviously the stages are, you know, labeled off of the actual episodes, but you know, it's just really nice touch.
Check it, Jack.
Okay, making sure I'm actually buying the right things here.
Yeah, so we're going to go for hammer training, just increasing the damage weapon level of what we just picked up in the one prior. A couple piercing arrows, because, you know, there's a lot of damage behind those. It can pierce through enemies, and also it's actually a favorite boss's primary weakness.
Alright, so Ishma there looking at the durability of the bow, because we're going to be firing a number of arrows here, and we're not counting the arrows specifically, we're just counting the number of shots we've done, because the game is going to tell you that your bow is very soon, there you go, close to breaking. We want this to be on 1 or 10 durability remaining, which is 1 more arrow. And the reason for that is we are going to be doing damage stacking. We're going to take the damage from the piercing arrow, we're going to combine that with a critical headshot, and then if it's your last arrow that gets fired while your bow breaks, it gets another damage boost on top of that. So we're going to effectively, hopefully, one-shot the next boss.
So a headshot, as in most other games, deals double damage, but if it's also, like Argy just explained, the last shot before the bow completely breaks down, it deals 5 times as much damage. So combining these two, the last arrow of your bow, if it's a headshot, will deal 10 times as much damage. And that is a lot.
That's a lot of damage.
Because if you take into account that we are playing on Jack difficulty and we are dealing 80% more damage than another, that, you know, is chunky. Chunky stuff. This guy being an absolute champion for his people here.
Yeah, the enemies become a lot more tedious to deal with because they're a lot more prone to blocking from like here onwards.
This treasure chest is nice enough to give us 200 Bushido. Bushido is actually the rarest resource that we can get in the game, and we need a lot of it actually for some of the more powerful skill unlocks a little bit later in the run, or even now at the moment already. So it's definitely nice to just go ahead and grab this. If you're being really bold, and we actually did this in the beginning of the day, routing this category because we thought we didn't want to open up this particular treasure chest, you can go ahead and omit this and just pray that you get enough Bushido naturally by defeating enemies. But, we'd rather go ahead and grab this now. And since we're just locked into more stuff, or fights rather, on this sooty plane, Zephyr, if you have anything to do, go ahead.
Nikowithic donated $10. Hi Ash, hi Bobby, hi Arjik. You're all doing absolutely amazing. This is so much fun to watch and I'm so glad I get to catch it live. Keep on being awesome, Heart. Matt Ponton donated $200. Good luck, Eshma. Thank you so much for sharing this wonderful game with ESA and the world. Rooting for you from the US.
Thank you, thank you.
$200 right there.
Yeah, I think a lot of people might have missed out on this game when it released in 2018, if I'm right on my time here. Because it generally got okay-ish reviews, I want to say. It wasn't exactly groundbreaking at the time, because at the end of the day, it is just a very simple battler game, I want to say. But it really is just a joy to speedrun. Like, when I started speedrunning this game, I discovered a whole new love for it, just as a whole. Because even though my first playthrough wasn't, you know, bad or anything, I thought, like, it could be a little bit better here and there. It can be a little bit rougher around the edges. But the speedrun is just an absolute joy, especially once you get to the next level, because things might get out of control just a little bit.
But first, it is boss time.
Nearly. Before we do that, though, there is more of these guys.
The creepy crawlies. And we got a couple burrowers. But just look at that near instant
Look at
snap
that, just
targeting.
the throw in.
Yeah.
In it goes. Get out the ground. There you go. Our first wave was pretty good there.
It was pretty good.
There was a lot of
the
good
zombies
ones.
were playing nice because they actually stayed above ground, so I could just go ahead and throw these shuriken at them. Which, because there were so many of them, you could just instantly kill.
Like that parry there.
One more.
But sometimes they just like take their sweet old time getting up like that.
And here we go.
So that was a boss fight.
There you go, that's a boss. All done.
Yep, that's it. You can clap now.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of wait time before the Mongo could actually get damaged, so it's perfect time to charge up your shot.
Yeah.
Now the boss time.
Where did he go? Okay, there you are. Yeah, it's random what the Banshee does as her first attack, and she can just completely go off the rails. Normally she should be at lower health already, so okay, I guess we are low on damage here, but there we go.
I love the Banshee's face when you swing the mace. It's just like looks like you get the right angle, just it's like yeah, it's coming down.
I am coming forward with the time of 8
8:03.
minutes and 3 seconds. And yeah, we're out already into the 5th level out of 9. So progressing quite nicely around here. Grabbing some skills, so Zephyr, if you have anything to do and plug, go ahead. Ah.
Oh, I love this skill. This skill's good. It's called Jump Good.
Jump good.
And what does it do? It allows you to jump good.
Loved that.
It basically is in the
episode.
name.
Un donation?
Exonerous donated $10. Hello Eshma, just curious as how Mr. Text-to-Speech pronounces Eshma. Ashma? A's HMAH? Asham-ah? Anyway, good luck.
Well, thank you very much, Exonerous.
Yeah, I was going to say, it handles Ashma quite well, but Zonerous though, nah. Although I gotta say, Zonerous, that's impressive to get like 3 different pronunciations out of that. Like, well played. TTS skills on point.
I'm actually really impressed by the bot. Like, he got it on point. Like, holy hell.
Alright, so you're going to see Jump Good there being active. You charge up a jump, you get a slightly higher height there. But the fun is yet to begin, because you can combine that with your double jump, and if you have the magic sword out, you can swing to give yourself just that little bit more height. And that little bit more height is enough to allow us to do some out-of-bounds shenanigans.
Yeah, so this is basically the level that you are waiting for when you run this category, because all the resource collecting that we have done so far is basically coming full circle here, as we are able to get the jump good ability, which allows us to do all kinds of stuff. So this is also the main deciding factor between the 80% New Game Plus category and this particular one, because as you can imagine, if you're playing this game in New Game Plus, you already have all of your upgrades, because, you know, New Game Plus, obviously. And so right from the start in stage 1, you can go ahead and basically break the game wide open. Whereas in the new game categories of the game, we first have to do the legwork, collect the upgrades, and we are starting to have some fun here. barriers. Oh, another one. What?
They just keep coming.
Never-ending waves of enemies. So a thing that you might not be completely aware of is I love using the Russian God, as you probably know, but there is just this little height going from the water onto the dry ground there, and that is enough to basically reset Jack's movements. So it's really awkward to do the Russian God there. So you either want to do it on the even ground or in the water, but not transitioning from one to the other.
So those enemies are really good as well, because there is a chance to get some Bushido from them. We did get 1 set of 50 there, which is nice. But ideally with the rest of them, we want to see more of those drops just to get down the skill trees. Because not only do you need the actual resources to buy the skills itself, but you also need to buy the prerequisite skill first. So if something's halfway down the skill tree, you need the entire skill tree before you can get it. So, but
Coming up, we're coming to the first out of bounds of the run. So this is where the fun is going to start, if the enemies permit me. Okay. Good so far. Oh. This is really dark. Don't want to fall down here. So, okay, there we go. So depending on the lightning, this can be a little bit skitterish to see because there's a lot of dark places going on. Okay, and we are not completely golden yet, but you can kind of see what's happening here. This is obviously not the intended route of the level. We are on our way to skip about half of a level, I want to say. Going all throughout the city here. And we are just retracing our steps back. So you might have seen all of these rooms a little bit earlier when we were making our way through the sewers. And we are coming up on our destination, which is really right over here. You can kind of see Jack, or a model of Jack, off to the side here. And we think this is the point of origin of the level. So I want to align myself with this thing here. And Jack, because there's an invisible wall right in front of me, jump it over. Do a little pause buffering here. And we did it. Oh, God, dude. So hopefully I got all of them.
It looks like you did. That was a good spawn.
And
Yeah.
yes, we did. Okay.
Oh, nice. 200
There we
Bushido.
go. Very good, very good. So the nice thing, or the odd thing about the Ki attack with the hammer is actually you see this wave emanating out of Jack. And the damage is based on the proximity towards the center. So the enemies around Jack will take the most damage, whereas the enemies out at the fringes will take a lot less damage. And since these Imakandi scattered just a little bit around me, what could have happened was that the last Imakandi didn't die when he was all the way out. So, you know, you would waste a little bit of time to go ahead and grab them again. But yeah, we are now in the final section of the 5th level. It is this lovely train ride. And, you know, again, if you know the show, you might know who will show up next. Any guesses?
We can't answer.
Yes,
We know.
no. Yeah, like we already know.
We know.
I mean,
so.
you could have just, you know, said anything or something.
Well, this is one of two right here.
So this is Zeke. We are trying to stun lock him by doing, you know, rushing guards. There is, again, particular timing to it. And once he falls down to the ground, we can just go ahead and grab him, do a throw attack like we did to the Ancient King at the end of the 3rd level. And that will basically immediately kill him off. Or not exactly kill him off, but end the fight against him. Because, don't you worry, he will be back because he is obnoxious. To that though, we have another fight coming up against Josephine, his wife / ex-wife. I think there are a little bit of a transition period in the show. Basically the same thing applies. We are trying to rushing guard combo her here as best as we can. She's not having a lot of it. He's down and there she goes.
Awesome.
Oh, he's back again.
He just can't get enough. Now, the bad thing about this particular fight is you can see these barriers to the left and right. Those are hard barriers for Jack, but they aren't for Zeke. So if I'm fighting him normally, what can happen is that he falls off the drain car, and then it just takes him a couple seconds to get back onto it, obviously losing us a lot of time. And that is why we opt to go ahead and use the Ki attack against him, because again, it takes get rid of him immediately, instead of trying to stunlock him like this again. I want him to go to the far right side here to save the most amount of time, just like that. Throw him, and done once again. But don't worry, he'll be back. Immediately here. Like I said, this guy is just really obnoxious. You fight him like 4 times in the span of about 2 minutes or so. So, yeah, he's a chunky dude.
Oh, she's coming close this time.
Is coming up. So what I have to be mindful of is Josephine will start shooting me, and if she hits me while I go for the rush or the sliding portion of the rushing guard.
Is she teabagging you?
Yeah, she's having fun there.
I mean, she's just vibing, I guess.
One thing that Aishma's got to be mindful for this fight is how he disposes of Josephine. He's going to want to take her umbrella, her parasol weapon, not as for any like weapon or damage utility, but it actually fetches a pretty nice price in the Samurai's shop, and he's going to be using that for to top up on restoration for his axe, or sorry, for the hammer, and also get some power charm upgrades as well.
Too much over damage here. Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Alright, 5 levels done, more than halfway through. And this is a time of 7:44. Alright. Guess I should drag that around. And yeah, Zephyr, you're ready to talk to us? Go ahead.
Anonymous donated $5. Long ago, in a distant hotel, I, Aku, the game developing master of my own game's leaderboard, coded an unspeakable evil. But a foolish speedrunner, wielding a magic root, ran forth to oppose me. Wish. Clang. Before the final trick was done, I tore open his buttons timer, and flung his personal best minutes off, where my record is law. Now the fool seeks to reset to the past, and undo the world record that is Aku.
Okay, that was a pretty good donation.
That's well played, that is. I like
Even though that wasn't an anonymous donation, we kind of know who it was from.
Ananas donated $10. Long ago in a distant land, I, Aku, the shape-shifting master of darkness, unleashed an unspeakable evil. But a foolish samurai warrior wielding magic out-of-bounds shenanigans stepped forth to oppose me.
Oh, I am loving these. Keep those coming, please.
I mean, they're not wrong. We got some plenty more out-of-bounds shenanigans coming on this level. This level is big and has a lot of fights on it. But Aishma's going to do, like, none of it.
We're doing a little bit at the start, but we just, as speedrunners, we're just looking around to the most opportune moment, I should say, to go ahead and find a nice little spot to go ahead and break it.
Picked up a lightning spear, just for, again, just selling to the samurai for more money.
Money!
Very valuable resource here. Like the end game upgrades and what you can buy from Samurai are just like exponentially more expensive than like what he had at the beginning of the game.
And guess who's back? It's oh boy, Dimongo.
And that's it.
Hey.
Bye bye for now.
Piercing arrows just wrecked the
those are
Mongols'
not
life.
good drops. Those are not good drops. Okay, so in this job, we're selling off a lot of the stuff that we collected so far, because we need money for more hammer training. And we're gonna go by the greater power bracelet. Please remember me to pick that off. I'll put that on, rather. Repairs. And I guess we can go ahead and grab power bracelet. Also, go ahead and repair this. Alright.
Equip. Yes, equip. There you go. There you go.
I am notorious for forgetting to equip these bracelets. They don't do a lot, but they're just nice little passive damage upgrades. So, if you are in a bind, especially if you are a boss, fighting bosses, that just, adds up over the course of the fight. So, why not go ahead, grab those, put them on Jack, and get a nice little bonus out of it. Obviously, they are more important on the higher difficult settings where the enemies actually take more hits to defeat. But we have the money to do that. One thing I should mention is we actually had a little bit of a round change back in chapter or level 5, because there is a durability glitch that you can do, which is a kind of peculiar, as if you go to the samurai, the shopkeeper, and you repair a weapon and another weapon after that, and then use the second weapon to deal damage or rather have it decrease its durability. What actually happens is it gets overwritten by the durability of the first weapon you repaired. So what we would do with that is transfer a 1000 durability machine gun over to the Ancient King's mace. The Ancient King's mace normally only has a durability of 300. It would then have 1000, lasting a lot longer in battle, and we wouldn't have to go ahead and repair that anymore during the course of the run. However, since the machine gun costs us 5000 gold, and that is a lot of money for this particular category, what we actually found out is we do not have to do this durability glitch anymore. Instead, just, repairing the Ancient King's mace every time that we come by the samurai. And since the samurai counts as the menu, we actually don't lose any time by just, going ahead and taking the time to repair. And yes, these enemies, you saw what they did to me. They can just absolutely bully you when you are in a corner, and you just have to go ahead and take it.
So here we're deliberately using the fist weapon to grab the Reaper Claws. These are ranged weapons. We're going to just stock up on these because we're going to need them towards the end of the game. It's going to be a large amount of our damage when we get there. Not going to get them from every single one, just farm up enough just so we have some spares. We can still buy some of them later on every time we run into the samurai.
Yeah, personally, I tend to overstock on these here because I still haven't rounded out the exact amount that I actually need for the rest of the game. So I'm rather be safe than sorry here, because if you don't have enough, well, you're going to have a little bit of a bad time. But, enough casual stuff, why don't we go ahead and go out of bounds again?
It's time to jump good.
So you actually are not allowed to kill all the enemies here. You need this barrier to be in place, otherwise you are not able to reach this up here. And there we go. Normally you were supposed to go all the way over there to the right, but I'm just gonna check along this little wall here. Okay, messing this up again. Potter is probably watching this one and laughing at me again because I did it wrong, but it still is enough to just go by. Normally you're just supposed to go all the way up to here. It doesn't matter. Went for a little bit of a backup there, and we are at the end of the level. And it is probably one of your favorite characters.
Oh, it's Scaramouche, babe. The host with the... Oh, what do you... Ah! Yeah, he kind of goes down fairly quickly. And in higher difficulties, it could be a little bit of an arduous pain with the amount of phases that he goes into. But obviously, look at that.
Oh, that was a little quick. The 446, I think I saw there.
I do not know. You went too quick. We will say 446.
Let's just plug it in. I mean, we can just go ahead and check the wall later if we actually need to.
We're heading into season 5 territory with Scaramouche, and now the snowy forest where you'll be able to meet and fight the daughters of Aku.
Yes. So basically, all of the rest of the levels here are based off the 5th episode of the show. I think it is probably one of the most what's the word? Favorite ones of the series. Because it is really good. It just ties up all of the loose ends. Well, not all of the loose ends, but most of the loose ends.
This game came out. This is the loose end to tie up, pretty much, over here. But we got one quick donation to go through?
Yes, go ahead.
Nikowithic donated $5. Long ago, joke get baited LMAO.
I love how the TTS is like, it's meant to be Nico with a C.
Yes, exactly. That was what I was thinking, Nico.
Is that Nico? Oh, okay, fair enough.
Also, Nico, I think you're on your way here. We will see you at ESA this very afternoon. I can't wait for you, buddy.
I think he's behind you.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I think he's behind you.
What?
Hello!
Dude!
Don't you have Jack 1 to do attempts on now?
Look, I can just go to the menu and do this and have a look around. It doesn't affect the IGT. I can take as much time as I want here. It doesn't affect the leaderboard time, so yeah.
Good look at that 300 Bushido as well. Need to try and get some more Bushido drops. Game, be nice to us. Come on.
The boy I was alluding to them earlier, these are the Daughters of Aku. You will fight them a lot throughout the whole of this level, similar to Zeke in the previous one. What I want to happen here is that they basically stack up like this, so I can hit them with one rushing guard. Not exactly playing by the rules here, other than their own. Okay, there goes one. You can actually just wait them out, but, you know, come on, it's a speedrun. And there we go.
There we go, that's some more.
I think we got a little bit of Bushido out of them, which
We
is
did.
nice to have.
Nice 100 there.
So absolutely do not like this particular fight because of these 3 enemies up there. We will just wreck you with their rocket launchers. So luckily I have a Ki attack, which I will absolutely make use of. And getting rid of all of these guys. Now we're off into the second half of the 7th level into the temple right here, and this is a very big place. It has a lot of fights in it, a lot of different levels to go through, a couple more boss fights and stuff, and we will basically skip all of it. If I can make this happen. First of all, we're going to do another little shop here, buy all the arrows that we can, buy another bow, more reapers. Look at my money here. I think I can afford this. And prepare the Ancient King's Mace again. Should be good. Yes, it should be good. Okay. Oh, wait. One thing that I have to check right here to make sure. Okay, it is at 200, so we have 19 shots. So 47, right? Yeah, 47. Once again, I'm counting the shots. Although in this case, I'm being a bit lazy and actually counting the arrows. Okay, so I should have one more shot. There we go. Okay. Quickly switching off that again, so we do not use that yet, but I guess you can already tell what's going to happen because we have another Demongo fight coming up. Not in this level, but we are already setting up our bow because we were fighting those zombies which die in one arrow, so it's just a nice place to do that right here. So you see this elephant statue over here, and it's a kind of a favorite in the Samurai Jack speedrunning community because this is the room where the community found the very first skip/out-of-bounds trick in. Hence it is called the elephant statue skip, the ESS. You just have to clear out these enemies right here. Go ahead, hit that statue. And that makes this elephant statue move over a little bit, revealing a hole in the ground. And you can maybe already tell what's going to happen right here, because there's this inconspicuous block that we can jump on. And we made the way up top again, and the game doesn't exactly like that. Because once again, we are out of bounds. You can kind of see the end or the boss's area over to the right there. And that is exactly where we're trying to make our way right now. Couple jumps around here. There's actually an invisible wall along this river right here, which we have to go to the right side. Working our way over there, and this should load us into the boss trigger. Hang on, there we go. This is the boss fight. This is the 7 Daughters of Aku. We're immediately going to use our Ki attack. Hopefully we will hit every single one of them, immediately ending the fight. We did not. So this is obviously losing us a little bit of time because we have to go ahead and kill off the rest of them. Again, this basically depends on what they do while you are loading up your Ki attack, because they get a second of movement there, and if you just move out of the, range of the Ki, they will survive. And this was a time of 4:28. Alright, and with that, we're already off into the penultimate level of the game, the prison ship. Well, actually, before that, we're going through the desert here with this lovely little oasis in just a little while. But as you just saw there, when you don't kill all of the Daughters of Aku off, every time you kill one of them, you get a little cutscene of them keeling over. And if you have to watch that like 7 or 6 seconds... Oh wait, there are 6 in total? No, 7 in total. So but you only have to kill 6 of them. If you have to watch that 6 times, it just adds up with the cutscenes. So, That's right. At the best of times, you hit all of them at once and you get only one cutscene out of that instead of... And obviously, if it chases down each and every single one of them, the fight obviously takes longer. As I said before, coming up is the prison ship interior, and it is basically the bane of every Samurai Jack runner because of the Lazarus, or rather these bugs. I don't know. I don't think they're all called Lazarus. I mean, they make up Lazarus. You know, the squishy dude. Don't know if they have individual names, to be honest. But yeah, you don't like to fight them because they are a pain. They are just straight up a pain.
Yeah, they end up latching onto you. They actually restrict you from using a lot of your more powerful abilities really quickly. And they're just a pain to shake off. You're just wasting a lot more time that way.
Hello, thank you. Equipping another bow, because yes, we have one bow and breaking point, but why don't we go ahead and do that for a second one as well? Spoilers.
Especially when it comes to these flying enemies. It's the quickest way to dispose of them.
And here are the slugs. Now these aren't as bad because they're very far away from us and we can just use the bow and get rid of them really quickly. But once they get a little bit closer to you, like this, it just really becomes a little bit of a, well, not so fun time anymore because we also have this slanted ground. And it is really easy for Jack during his rushing guard attack to just slide on top of one of these slugs. And the problem with that is you can't exactly do a rushing guard while you're on top of an enemy because you're immediately sliding off again, resetting the rushing guard basically. And it just looks goofy and it wastes your time. But coming up, hey, it's our boy again. So say hi.
My head hurts.
So turn to sender.
And there we go. So what do we get, Nimango? We got gold and skill fire. I mean, gold is not too bad, but I would rather have some more Bushido. Actually, let me go ahead and check.
698.
How are we doing on that?
So
yeah,
not
we're still a little
quite.
bit off. So we need another 300 more, roundabout.
302.
Optimally, I would have it around here somewhere because the upgrade that I'm trying to save up for is a second storage of the Ki attack. At the moment, I can at most store one of these, but if I'm able to do that with two of them, and second Motobbage other, basically, that is pretty nice to have. However, it takes a massive amount of Bushido to get. And like you saw, sometimes the RNG can just basically shaft you if the Mongo doesn't give you a good Bushido drop every now and again. So yeah, let's see how this one will actually finish, because I actually did have runs where I didn't get this upgrade, and it is workable. Again, you are still able to finish the run, it just takes a little while longer. So this is a big old door. Normally you are supposed to go through 3 rooms at 3 separate switches. Oops, hello. But yeah, we're not doing that. Just go straight through the wall and skipping a good portion of the level where you have to go through this little labyrinth, finding the rooms, hitting the switches, doing fights. It just takes minutes. But instead, we're just gonna come here and fight more of our favorite enemies, or second favorite enemies, the slugs.
Slug.
Now, as you can see there, the big slugs can actually spawn medium-sized slugs, and then obviously the medium-sized slugs can spawn smaller ones. So you optimally want to go for the big ones first, and then basically make your way down the food chain. Now, luckily, the Ancient King's Hammer has a bit of a hit area around the swing to the ground, where you can hit multiple enemies at once. So you can get rid of these smaller ones pretty easily, but again, they can just basically pinball you between them. Or ping-pong you between them, rather. And it's not a fun time.
Check it.
Okay, so we are gonna repair our mace again. It was down to half durability. Then we are gonna go ahead and I need to buy this the next time around. We buy more repairs. I can go for a potion of powders. Yeah, just a second one too. Okay. How many shots do I have left of this bow? Now the thing is about the bows, you can only check the durability while you are at the samurai. You cannot check them from inside your inventory, which is very unfortunate. I don't know why they're programmed in that way. So every time you go to the samurai, you just want to quickly take a moment and check the durabilities of your bows. I have 200 durability left. That means 20 arrows and the bow breaks, so I can take 19 shots. We got more money, so sadly no Bushido. I actually have enough money, so that's a bit of a waste, but oh god, what can we do? Actually gonna go ahead and already equip that, but with the normal arrows. So we do not waste our very precious piercing ones. Just gonna take a few shots here. I don't need to break the bow yet or get it to breaking point. I'm just, trying to do the legwork here. These ninjas are actually the strongest normal enemies in the game. They have a variety of attacks. They have actually a lot of health. And if they get down to low health, they will summon basically shadow clones of themselves. So we have to fight even more enemies. You don't exactly have to kill the clones, but you don't also can see which one is the correct one because there's no indication of that. So you'd rather not see them use that at all. Oh, we're getting the signal. Down. We're getting quite a nice amount of Bushido here, sadly.
You can buy it now.
Did it count it?
Yeah, you got an extra 100 that I did.
That is so nice of you.
If I have counted correctly, you can buy it now.
Alright, let's see if Erge can count. And he can! Alright, let's see if I can do that as well, I suppose. Trying that. How many shots do we have left? So 10, so I can do 9 more. Play another power bracelet. This is the last one we're gonna get. This was 9, right?
Yes.
9. Okay,
Equip.
Just make sure I have the right stuff selected. Yeah, should be fine.
Power bracelet.
The bracelet.
Oh.
Yeah. That's what I meant.
See, I am notoriously bad at this, okay? This is why I have these two guys with me. That's what again.
Equip? No, I got it. No,
Comes out of the menu. No, got it.
Don't trust me when it comes to stuff like this, okay? Just don't. So anyway, this is a, what's it called? Shadow Ashi. So we're basically fighting our girlfriend more or less here, because, she's having a rough day. Don't do that. So since I got the second Ki charge so late, I'm actually not able to use my Ki attack here, which would immediately knock her down to half health and lower. So this fight will take us a little bit longer than it should. Have to go through all of her phases. Getting her down though. Alright. 2 more hits. Roundabout. Yeah, don't worry. It'll be alright. Another thing that happens the lower the enemies have on HP, okay, there we go, the more defense they have, or rather the less damage you deal. So the longer the fight will actually take. And this is a time of 6:31. And we are off to the last level in the game. So we're very fast approaching the end here. And this is basically where the game throws everything in the kitchen sink at you. Because we are gonna get through a lot of fights.
Yeah, this is the gauntlet. This is the climb right here, and you see a lot of these enemies spawning in. So like, I feel like every floor will kind of be like a culmination of like the different levels of enemies that you fought so far. So starting from the very beginning up into those very arduous enemies, the big brutes at the end.
So another thing that we haven't talked about yet is that every enemy actually is weak to a certain weapon type. And you can kind of see if you hit them with the right one. This is actually... Yeah, let's go ahead. You can see that when you see this little red flame around them when I hit them. It's very hard to make out if you don't know what exactly to look for, because it's a very small effect that is happening with all these other effects already in place. So I'm trying to point it out when I see it here. Obviously, the Samurai Fist is not the optimal weapon to fight these guys with, but once again, we are playing on Jack difficulty, so they die in one attack anyway. So it doesn't matter as much, but you can definitely see it on the more tanky enemies. Yes, Jack, we will find him in just a moment, don't you worry. He's shooting down these robots. And guess who's back? The boy.
Every time.
Guess I miscounted that by one shot. So he was able to summon one of his lackeys here, so let's hope I can kill him before that guy becomes a problem. He's just mucking about behind me, and there we go. Okay. So fun fact, the Mongo has the most amount of health out of any enemy in the game in this particular fight, so it can be a very long and arduous process if you do not get this, basically this quick kill with breaking the bow and you know, using the piercing arrows. That is a very particular setup that you absolutely do want to go for if you can. So this is the last shop that we have access to, so I'm basically loading up on everything that I can for the last couple of fights in the game. I'm absolutely sure I go for the right stuff here. No, I don't want to buy some more Kaiken. Where are they? So the Samurai is selling a lot of stuff in this particular shop because once again it is the last one that you have access to in the run. So you basically can load up on everything here, and the more stuff you can buy, basically the better, because it makes the next two fights just a little bit easier. Okay, make the jumps. Let me just go ahead and equip this, and yeah.
Hello, zombies. Behave themselves. Alright, one's dead. Nice counter.
That was a very nice counter, yeah. It's just that Jack likes to prioritize enemies that are close to you, no matter if you can actually deal damage to them or not. So if the zombie is very close to you, and underground, Jack will just, you know, home in on him instead of the guys that can actually hit him. These guys are being absolute champions here. Hello! So if you thought that all the fights in the game were very easy or whatever, this fight right here might, you know, make you think twice, because all the knockback is going on. You can just lose oodles of time if you keep getting knocked back or knocked down or whatever. Making this a bit of an arduous process, and that is why we love the rushing guard ability, because, you know, we automatically block during the sliding animation. We actually have a bit of movement for it, so we are not locked in place to anything. We can dodge attacks with it if we use it wisely. It deals good damage. It's just an all-around bang over skill. So if you don't get the rushing guard ability as soon as you can during a casual playthrough, you're actually going to have a really bad experience. Okay. Hello. But as you can see, these guys have a lot of combos that you can use, that they can use on you, making these fights not exactly problematic, but just take a lot of time with it, decide to block stuff or just fling around the battlefield as they can. This should be the last fight down here, so we are making our way up to the second to last level of the tower, and this is basically where we'll face the most difficult enemies in the game. Kinda. I'm actually gonna go ahead and use a power potion here because I kind of forgot to use any of these during any of the previous boss fights. The power potions basically increase your damage by just a little bit, so it could have made the Archie fight a little bit faster, but oh well. Actually gonna go ahead and switch out the shuriken for the Kaiken here because they deal a little bit more damage, so I can kill these enemies a little bit quicker.
So that little like red spark effect whenever you get hit, so that's like
yeah, exactly. Yeah. You see the red spark when I throw the Kaiken at these enemies, and that basically signifies that they are weak against this particular weapon right here. Like I said, it is very hard to make out if you don't know exactly what to look for. But once you know what it is, it makes it just a delicious fun.
Last couple enemies here, they're just slightly annoying because they're spawning in one by one, which means they have bigger health pools than their counterparts. And then with this one here, you want to get the big enemy first because the little enemies will keep respawning. So you want to deal with the big one first and then deal with the remnants of the little ones after we're finished with it.
The enemies can just really blindside you. Like we explained earlier, this was developed by the guys who made Ninja Gaiden. And if you haven't picked up on the similarities between the battle systems yet, this might, you know, be a little reminder of that. And there we go. That is this guy down. So the only enemy left in the game is Aku himself.
The master.
Now way up here. This is what we're gonna do here. This is why we got all the Reapers. So we're gonna try and throw them at him. Oh, this was actually very good RNG until I threw my Reaper, because he was starting out with the fireball attack. Because there's a little bit of a bug going on with Aku, if he uses that fireball attack, and you use your Ki, he actually gets stun locked into that animation, so you can just use the second one and instantly kill him. Now sadly, he is not playing ball here. You do not want to see these attacks because obviously you cannot go ahead and attack him yourself. So this is a little bit of a slow fight here, and I guess he just...
Yep,
he just disappeared when I used the Ki. That was very unfortunate, because I just pressed the button as he started up vanishing into the ground. Just waiting for him to respawn. I'm holding off on my Ki just a little bit here. There we go. This is what you want to see. Now you don't want to get hit by it, obviously. And time.
There you go.
A little bit of an unfortunate final fight, but otherwise, pretty solid run, I want to say. Yeah, this was in time of 1 hour, 9 minutes, 37. We do not yet know what our final IGT is going to be, because we still need to see the last stage screen, which is a 6:49.10. So what does that add up to?
I don't know. I got to do math now.
Oh my god, okay. While Aik is doing math.
Right.
Bobby,
Yes.
any shoutouts?
Shoutouts to you. Thank you very much for playing this game. I love Samurai Jack. It was a really, really good run. We got to show off a lot of the tech, a lot of the boss quick kills. So yeah.
Thank you very much. Aik, yeah.
What about your shoutouts in the meantime?
A big shout out to the Samurai Jack community. You are a fantastic bunch of people, especially to Matt Ponton, who was the previous world record holder of this category, until he started to come into every one of my streams whenever I streamed this game, teaching me all the strategies and how to improve upon my runs. And I recently overtook him on the leaderboards by about 11 seconds IGT.
Approximately 55 minutes IGT.
55 minutes. That is about 5 minutes over the current world record IGT. So a lot of improvements to do, I guess, but still solid time.
Still a good showcase.
It would still be, I think, 3rd place or 4th place on leaderboards. So I'm quite happy with that.
As I said, it's approximate. I didn't do the numbers. I done the minutes, and then I did them on. But there you go.
Any shoutouts from you?
Just thank you for having me. Like, this was fun.
Okay.
When you came over, you're like, yo, you want to do some Samurai Jack? I was like, yo, I like that game. I remember the show. Let's go for it. And honestly, you said 2018. Yeah, I missed it, and it looks solid.
Buy it. It's a good game. Good speedrun.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is not the last from us, because these two guys actually have more runs coming up, especially Bobby getting ready for his Mega Man 8 crowd control tonight. So it will last for about 2 hours or maybe a little bit more. Are you ready?
Well, hopefully we'll be within the estimate.
Yeah. I guess the Twitch chat will see about that.
Oh, yeah.
You also have another one coming out, right?
I do. I have a run on stream too. We got some Sonic Chaos. If you want to see a Sonic game be finished in about 12 minutes, join us tomorrow, because that's going to be a lot of fun. We're bringing out some Master System games. So
That's right.
we're going old school.
All right. And with that,
That's
thank you very much for having us. And we're out of here, I suppose.
That's it.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
And we'll see you soon.